Thank you for your cooperation because we cannot manage any other problem which can come on the random because there is some problem at the mic. So let's sir continue with the session and after we will share the PPT. Sir, you can please continue.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm audible there to all of you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, okay. So I think we were talking about the, some wireless network, some concept of wireless network. Basically here, as slide is not showing, but I can continue from there, okay? So we were talking about the wireless network, basically. Some early communication systems like wireless communication systems has replaced by the telegraph network, then later by telephonic network. And during 1895, 96, the radio communication was born and invented by Marconi. And after the radio communication, the radio communication has grown up very rapidly to enable transmission over large distances with better quality, less power, and cheaper devices, and enabling public and private radio communications. Then television comes, then wireless networking comes in the market. And when we talk about the wireless network, uh, as you all know that wireless networks are basically one type of network, or you can say computer network that use radio frequency channels as their physical medium for the communication. In network, each node will broadcast information which can be received by all other nodes within its direct transmission range. So generally, why we use this wireless network? Wireless networks are broadcast in nature, and adopted some type of networks to enable mobility. When we are on mobile, we can use such portable devices that can support the wireless network, and vice versa. So can be defined as infrastructure-based network and infrastructure-less network. When we talk about infrastructure-based network, hello, I'm audible there. I'm audible there, Dr. Bisal.
Yes, but some have not muted.
Dr. Bisal, my voice is clear
Your
there.
voice is breaking. Sir, your voice is little bit breaking.
Okay, but I think everything is clear here. I think.
Yeah, now it is fine. Now it is fine.
Okay. So we were talking about wireless network. So actually, some voice are coming from there only. Some children voice are coming there.
Yeah, I have muted all the mics, sir.
Okay, but here I'm getting a different type of voice from there. Okay, no problem. Okay, so we were talking about the category of wireless network basically. So wireless network can be segmentized as infrastructure-based network as well as infrastructure-less network. So when we talk about the infrastructure-based network, infrastructure-based means a network in which infrastructures are there. Infrastructures may be the access point, base station, router, gateways, etc. And these infrastructures basically provide the coverage to their users, provide the different type of facilities to their users. Okay, so sometimes these infrastructures networks are the routers also, gateways also, and the application of this infrastructure-based network is the cellular network. Cellular network where we use our mobile phones, our cell phones. So cellular network can consist of a large number of cell phones along with the a very powerful transmitting antenna mounted on the top of the tower, and there is one small building having the radio equipment, having the electronic. All these things is known as the access point, or you can say base station. So this base station is basically used to provide the coverage to their users. Here our aim is to explain the second type of network, basically infrastructure less network. So the infrastructure less network means there is no infrastructure in the network. Infrastructure means there is no base station, there is no access point, there is no router, gateways in the network. That network can be established without the central administrator, without the central entity, or without the infrastructure. And such type of network is known as the mobile ad hoc. The better known as mobile ad hoc network is MAN. So here the question may arise that what an ad hoc network is. What is the mobile ad hoc network? Actually, there is no unique definition what an ad hoc network is. We can define an ad hoc network in many ways. It is the category of wireless network, utilize multi-host radio relaying, and are capable of operating without support of any fixed infrastructure. Without fixed infrastructure means any central entity or any fixed governing body. Basically, a mobile ad hoc network or ad hoc network is an adaptive type of network. This is self-organized network, or you can say configuring network. It means the network can be formed or can be anywhere, anytime, on the fly. And first type of network is very dynamic type of network, highly dynamic type of network. And the network topology is changing very frequently in such type of network. In this network, each node will be able to communicate with other nodes within the transmission range. And beyond the transmission range, the network uses intermediate nodes to forward the packet hop by hop. Hop by hop. That's why sometimes we can say that this type of network is also known as wireless hop ad hoc network, because it uses multiple hosts to communicate the further nodes. So this way we can say that the network uses multi-host ad hoc network, and this network having very different applications, like wireless sensor network, like mobile app, or vehicular ad hoc network, and different type of other networks like opportunistic network, mesh network. So these are different applications of the this mobile ad hoc network. So here our aim is to discuss. Our aim is to discuss on vehicular ad hoc network, which is the most popular application of the mobile ad hoc network. So as you know that in today's world, there has been increasing number of vehicles than ever before. So driving is becoming a requisite part of our life, as we can see in the world. So according to research report, there are about 90 million vehicles sold in 2018 worldwide. So we can say that this indicate a growth of vehicles market in the world. That's why we can say that the frequency of the road accident has been increasing due to this large vehicular traffic on the road. And you know that according to the WHO, millions of people around the world die every year because of the vehicular traffic accident. And 1/4 of all deaths caused by injury. And also about 60 million of people are injured in vehicular traffic accident. About 60 millions of people are in vehicular traffic accident. So we can say that the economy of the world. So we are residing here in Delhi. So take the metro city Delhi in India, for example, where plenty of vehicles runs on the road at any given time. Delhi has huge population. And with respect to this population, vehicles population in Delhi is large among all metro cities in India. And you can't believe that, you can't imagine that around 2000. Hello, hello.
Voice is clear, sir. No problem. Continue.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as we are talking about the about Delhi city, so you can't believe that around 2000 to 2005 new vehicles are added in Delhi every day. So due to this large vehicular traffic, thousands of people around the Delhi city die every year because of the vehicular traffic accident. And many more are injured. Therefore, we can say that the exceptional growth in the number of vehicles with the uh, limited road space and careless driving and the violation of traffic rules caused large number of vehicular traffic accident on the road. It means we can say that road safety is the major factor of vehicular traffic management. So increasing parking demand with limited parking space and imbalanced traffic flows are the obstruction to the smooth flow of the vehicular traffic, especially in crowded and major commercial areas. When we talk about the Delhi city, just go to the different busy market like Nehru Place, Khan Market, Sarojini Nagar Market, or you can go to the mall. You can see here how the people, how the vehicle users are traveling to park their vehicles basically at those places. So here our aim is to understand the concept of the vehicular ad hoc network basically. So we can say that to reduce the large number of vehicular traffic accident on the road, improve safety, improve traffic efficiency, reduce traffic congestion on the road, manage traffic control systems, and provide internet facility to the passengers as well as to the drivers inside the vehicle with high and reliable efficiency. Computer networking researchers and scientists has proposed a new wireless networking concept that is known as vehicular network. It is better known as VANET. VANET. So VANET, today's lot of people, lot of researchers doing their work on these areas. Basically, the different type of wireless networks like mobile ad hoc network, wireless sensor network, vehicular ad hoc network. So this vehicular ad hoc network is basically the very most emerging type of research where the people are working, where the researchers are working. So how we can define basically this vehicular ad hoc network? Actually, this VANET is a budding and a challenging subclass of mobile ad hoc. It is the most popular application of mobile ad hoc network with unique characteristics, which we have to discuss later. In this network, basically, vehicles can act as a mobile nodes within the network. And VANET, as I told you, it is the one type of wireless network in which communication can take place through wireless links mounted on each vehicles. In this network, each vehicle equipped of the wireless devices, computing devices, sensing nodes, digital maps, GPS means global positioning systems, GIS, geographical information systems, radar, and some other advanced information processing tools. And these are all together mounted on the vehicle as an on-board unit, which is known as OBU, along with the application unit. And this whole concept, when inbuilt in the system, means in the vehicle, this vehicle is known as a smart vehicle. A smart vehicle. I will share you, the slides where you can easily understand how the smart vehicle can work and can be designed basically. What are the different, parts of smart vehicles? What are the different devices can be used there in the vehicles. So clearly you can see this in the slides. So thus, we can say that the vehicular ad hoc network is an emerging new technology integrated with ad hoc network, which is also known as ad hoc domain, cellular technology, which is known as infrastructure domain, and as well as wireless local area network, which is also known as in-vehicle domain, to achieve vehicular communications for the future ITs, future intelligent transportation system. Intelligent transportation systems. So generally, if you go to the some developed country, they are using this intelligent transportation systems, vehicular ad hoc network. In Japan, they are working a lot on vehicular ad hoc network. In America, even they are running different type of projects for their students, for the researchers, and they have already established such type of network in some part of their cities. So they are working a lot. So basically, as I told you that this vehicle ad hoc network is the integration of ad hoc domain, infrastructure domain, as well as in vehicle domain. So basically here, how these parts can be segmentized or can be defined here. So in ad hoc domain, generally we use, or generally it is composed of vehicles equipped with onboard units as well as roadside units along the roadside. Onboard unit can act as a mobile node of the ad hoc network, and RSU roadside unit is used as a static node, and these can communicate to each other. When we talk about the infrastructure domain, in RSUs and hotspots are the types of infrastructure domain and are responsible for providing internet services to the OBUs, onboard units, and its application units. Basically, application unit just embedded with the onboard unit, and it is responsible to communicate with other vehicles using this onboard units. Whereas RSUs are connected to the internet via gateways and can communicate with other RSUs either directly or via multiple hop as well as. So this network is also one type of multi-hop type of network, just like the mobile ad hoc network. Then just come to the in-vehicle domain. It is composed of onboard units. In-vehicle domains, we are talking about the components of the smart vehicles basically. What are the communication devices are there? So it is composed of onboard units and one or more multiple application units. Onboard units may communicate with the internet via RSUs, which is placed along the roadside, and hot spots also. In the absence of RSUs and hotspots, onboard units means the simple, we are talking about the smart vehicle, can also communicate with other vehicles by using some cellular radio net, like the GSM, Global System for Mobile Communication, GPRS, WiMAX, Zigbee, as well as the 4G and 5G network. 4G and 5G network. So when there is no RSUs and hotspots in the vehicle ad hoc network, so vehicles may be on the highway or inside the city. They can communicate by using such type of a cellular radio network like GSM, GPRS, WiMAX, Zigbee, etc. Sometimes they use Bluetooth and Wi-Fi also to communicate to their nearby devices. So here, basically, I have to say that this vehicular ad hoc network is a very emerging type of network. Is the category of wireless network that can be used as a intelligent transportation systems to reduce the large number of accidents on the road basically, and provide different type of safety features to the passengers as well as to the drivers. So how this intelligent transportation systems can be used as a vehicle ad hoc network. So here Nowadays, VANET has become an emerging research in the field, research field of the MANET, and it is used to communicate with other vehicles and some central access points such as roadside units, as well as some traffic management system. When we talk about the city, where police authority sometimes deals with such type of network in the developed countries. In India, we don't have such type of network, but we are using GPS and some other devices inside our vehicle, but that is not part of the vehicle ad hoc network basically. And such type of network is used in a localization based system in which we identify the physical location of any object, that may be the vehicle, that may be your cell phone or other devices, in the form of latitude, longitude, and altitude, by using GPS, global positioning system. This GPS is very powerful tool, a very specific device that can be used to find the exact location or position of any node, that may be the vehicle in a geographical area on the earth. So basically, here question may arises that how this GPS global positioning system works. I'm audible there? Hello, Visalji?
Audible.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So basically, here we are talking about the global positioning system. How this global positioning system can be used to find out the exact location or position of any node, not only the vehicle, some other nodes too, in a geographical area. So basically, we can say GPS is a satellite-based navigation system. It is used to locate positions of any object anywhere on the earth. It is designed, developed, and operated by the Department of Defense of the USA, basically. And its official name is Navy Star Global Positioning System. Yeah, it means Navigation Signal Timing Ranging Global Positioning System. It is consist of satellites in the sky, which is known as GPS satellites in the sky, and controlling and monitoring stations and GPS receivers on the earth. So we can say that this whole GPS systems is the a combination of satellites in the sky, some GPS receivers on the earth, and some controlling and monitoring stations on the earth too. GPS is composed of 27 satellites. Among these 27 satellites, 24 satellites are active mode, and 3 satellites are used as a backup in case other satellites fail. So generally, when we talk about to find the location of any node on the Earth, so we can use 24 satellites in the sky in active mode. These satellites operate in the orbit around the Earth. Actually, the whole region of the Earth is divided into 6 regions, and each region can see at least 4 satellites in the sky. It means 6 into 4 is equal to 24. So 24 satellites active in the sky to find the exact location of any node. Then, each GPS satellites make circle on the orbit at a height of around 20,000 kilometers from the Earth, and makes 2 complete rotations every day. And each satellites transmit radio waves. Radio waves means some coded signals, some coded electronic signals towards the Earth that contain information regarding its position and the time. Means satellite position and the time. This information can be used to compute distance from the satellites, and this distance between satellite and the GPS receiver can be computed using speed of light as well as travel time of radio signals. So the distance between the satellite and the GPS receiver can be computed using speed of light, and the travel of the radio signals means whatever the signal sent by the satellites on the Earth. So we can say that GPS can work by using GPS receiver, where GPS receiver is an electronic device that receive the information, means coded radio signals sent by the satellite, and this information can be used to find the exact location of a GPS receiver, embedded. Maybe that is any vehicle or object or anything, and altitude. So I mean, we can say that if we want to get any information in the form of 3D, three-dimensional information of any object or any vehicle on the Earth, so we need at least 24 satellites in the sky to find the exact location. And for 3D information, we need 4 satellites. And for 2D information, we need 3 satellites, as the area, the whole area is divided into 6 regions. Okay, so in this way, this GPS receiver can act or can work when we talk about vehicle ad hoc network. So, so we can say that when it can be used as a intelligent transportation system, and it is created on demand basis to improve the safety of the people, improve the traffic management system, reduce large number of traffic accident on the road, reduce traffic congestion and traffic efficiency, reduce traffic congestions and improve traffic efficiency on the road. So it is an important component in developing the smart city, where we can predict, observe, and manage traffic movement of the vehicle by supporting and by communicating between the vehicles in vehicle ad hoc network, you can say. So friends, in VANET, generally, when we talk about, and here the question may arises that how the communication is possible, basically how the vehicles are communicating with each other. So for that, vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure, and vehicle to pedestrian type of communications are possible for providing safety and other information services to the vehicle users. A vehicle to vehicle means some ad hoc type of communications are. Vehicle to infrastructure means infrastructure may be access point, or here in case of vehicle ad hoc networks, the RSU, roadside unit, which is placed alongside the road, or any that may be placed at any uh, city, like any cross section, at any cross section, or at a mall, or any busy places that can be placed. So that can be used as a tower, that can be used as a access point. So the vehicle and access point communications are also possible. Access point means infrastructure are also possible. And there is another communication, which is the vehicle to pedestrian communication. If someone is walking alongside the road, on the road, and using their mobile phone or cell phone as a gateway, so that also can access this such type of network, means vehicle ad hoc network. So vehicle to vehicle communications, vehicle to infrastructure communications, vehicle to pedestrian communications. These are the communication systems which are possible for providing safety and information services to the vehicle users. So we can say that the VANET means the intelligent transportation systems, or VANET, will provide safer and well-organized road in future by communicating real-time traffic information among the vehicles in timely manner. And these information can be shared by drivers as well as the concerned authority, so that can govern the whole system, so that they can control the traffic, management systems on the highway as well as in the city. So these are the some very important parts of the basics of the vehicle ad hoc network. But here, how this vehicle ad hoc networks works basically, how these communication systems, in VANET can work basically. So generally, a vehicle ad hoc network, a typical VANET, you can say, consists of large number of vehicles, smart vehicles, we
Sir,
can say.
there is a
And
one question. Rao sir, there is
yeah,
a
yeah,
one
please.
question from the participant. What
Yeah,
types of
please.
applications are embedded in OBU?
Applications.
Yes, sir. What types of
Yeah,
applications?
applications, VANET provide different type of applications, means for communication systems, applications when you are, driving, then there are, you need some, some services provided by the VANET, like, toll, tax, plaza, services, some halting services like, parking services, and some other, if you want to stay somewhere on the road, like hotel or restaurant, so you can find such type services, means applications. So these are the different type of applications. And when you want to sending some other services, like some alarm services to the vehicle, to the drivers, to the passengers, and sometimes you can find some, some internet services. Suppose you want to use, you want to use some, I mean to say that if any passenger, if any driver want to utilize music, okay, take the advantage of music, so that can use the, internet by using different services provided by the RSU also. So these different services can be, embedded here in application unit, that can be on computation when onboard units are there. Okay. Any more question, please? Hello.
If you have any question related to VANET, related to wireless communication, you can write in the chat window. I will forward it to the sir.
Also,
Thank you
if
very
you
much.
OBU, Visalji, can we continue?
Ji. Ji.
Okay. So many applications basically, deal with this by this vehicle ad hoc network. So these are some very basic applications which I told you. So generally, a typical VANET consists of a large number of vehicles, means smart vehicles, and approximately 1,000 million smart vehicles in the world. Generally, we are using for this vehicle ad hoc network, and these vehicles are, as I told you, that smart vehicles means the GPS receivers are there, sensors are there, computing devices are there, digital maps are there, and radars are there. So these devices are basically used for the different applications, different services provided by the vehicle ad hoc network. And these smart vehicles can communicate with each other using DSRC. DSRC is the dedicated short range communication. This is basically one type of technology. This is given by the Federal Communication Commission, uh, uh, which is placed in USA. This is especially meant for the vehicular ad hoc network and work in wireless access in vehicular environment. So basically, this DSRC is working in Wave. Wave is the wireless access in vehicular environment. And this DSRC is a wireless technology which is based on IEEE 802.11p. 11p. Generally, we use 802.11 for wireless access, for wireless network. But there are different categories for accessing the different modes. Just like 802.11, we use for Wi-Fi. And similarly here, the IEEE 802.11p is especially used for the vehicular ad hoc network. Under this, DSRC technology can be used. Dedicated short range communication is a wireless technology which is that can be used in this vehicular ad hoc network, and it works. It works basically for both the communication systems, or you can say for all type of communication systems like vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to infrastructure communication, using some bandwidth like 75 megahertz band at 5.9 gigahertz frequency band. Basically, all things placed there inside the slide. So it's very difficult to show because due to some technical problems, we are not showing the slides. But I will share the slides. You can see there. These are all things, very important part of the slides basically. So
Sir,
now
can
we
you
were
mail
talking
me? Sir, can you mail me the PPT? I will share from here.
PPT just now.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
You just
okay.
share me the PPT. I will share
Okay,
from my end.
Okay, just take 1 minute. Just I'm sharing.
Yes, sir.
Visalji, I have sent you.
Just 1 minute, sir. Just give me a 1 minute. I'm accessing
Please,
my email.
please.
So you can continue with your lecture. Once it will be online, I will share it, sir.
Okay, if you will just open the file means PPT. I will just continue.
Because I have not received the mail. Might be it will take 1 to 3 minutes.
Okay, but it is has been sent already. Okay,
Okay,
no problem. So can I continue?
Yeah, please, sir.
Okay. Okay. Once you got the mail and just display the PPT. Okay. So we have taken many slides, many examples, many very good and clear figures. So that will show you the clear diagram of the vehicular ad hoc network basically. But no problem. So, we are talking about the vehicular ad hoc network here. So DSRC basically is one type of wireless technology, just like Wi-Fi used here. This is based on 802.11p, and it is used for the all type of communication systems. Using this DSRC system is using 25 megahertz bandwidth at 5.9 gigahertz frequency band. So in this network, basically, vehicle when it has on board unit, application unit that communicate with other vehicles or roadside units using DSRC in each vehicle there is a tamper-proof device also. This device holding the vehicle secret information such as driver's identity, speed, direction, route, and the trip details, etc. So there is a tamper-proof device, TDP, which is used to hold the vehicle's secret information. Secret information means driver's identity, speed of the vehicle, the direction of the car, driver's route, and the trip details, etc. That we can sometimes we are not. There is no need to share such type of information with the other people. So there is a tamper-proof device with this onboard units. So this device can hold the secret informations of the drivers, and then uh, uh, there are different type of characteristics we can use for the vehicular ad hoc network basically. Hello, Vishal ji. Hello.
You are
Hello?
audible, sir. Sir, you are audible.
Okay. So
Sir,
have you opened?
but I have not received the email, sir.
Okay, but mail has been delivered already.
But I have not received, sir.
I don't know what's happening there. Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Please continue. Once the PPT will be online, I will share with you, sir.
Okay. So, now we will talk about characteristics of the vehicular ad hoc network. What are the unique characteristics basically in vehicular ad hoc network? In vehicular ad hoc network having some very specific characteristics, some unique characteristics like self-organization. Means as like the mobile ad hoc network, it is self-organized network, means self-configuring network, or you can say the network can be formed or deformed anywhere at any time because it is a temporary type of network. It is this such type of network is created on demand basis, so it is self-organization. And the second one is the highly dynamic topology. Since here smart vehicles are used as a mobile nodes, and these vehicles can run very fast in the network. So network topology is changing very frequently. So this is the highly dynamic topology of the Euclid ad hoc network. Nodes are vehicles. So whatever the nodes we can use here in Euclid ad hoc network, those are the vehicles, which is known as smart vehicles. And another one is the frequently disconnected network. Means due to the highly mobile in nature, due to the dynamic changing the network topology, the network may disconnected very frequently. So routing problem may occur in this case. And then the next characteristics is the non-uniformity in density. So when we talk about the city area, more vehicle we can find in the city, so network may be dense. And when we talk about the highway, less vehicle we can find on the highway, so a network may be the very hello, are you getting? Hello, Vishal ji.
Yes, sir. All clear.
Okay. Thank you so much. So sometimes network connectivity in the network may disconnected very frequently due to the highly dynamic in nature. Then non-uniformity in density means density means network density. Sometimes we can find much dense in the somewhere I mean in urban areas or in cities, On highway, we can find less vehicles. So density may be not uniform. And another characteristic is the restricted movement. So when we talk about the mobile ad hoc network, in mobile ad hoc network, node can move in any direction at any time. Node can move in any direction at any time. But in case of vehicular ad hoc network, the node can move on the road direction only. On the road direction only. So we can predict the movement of the vehicles or the node in such type of network. And the next characteristics is the sufficient energy. Generally, in mobile ad hoc network, there is a energy problem. There is a power issue. This is a big issue. This is a big challenging issues in mobile ad hoc network. Because sometimes, battery, hello, are you getting? Visalji? Hello? I'm audible there?
You're
Yes,
audible.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, madam. Thank you so much. So we were talking about the VANET characteristics. So when we talk about the vehicular ad hoc network, there is a battery power in the VANET or in the vehicle that will provide continuous power to their computing devices, means to their onboard units basically, or application unit. So there is no issue of this battery power or energy issue or power issue in the vehicular ad hoc network. And the other characteristics is the geographic position availability. Geographic position availability means generally in such type of network we must use the GPS, global positioning system. Global positioning system that gather the information by using GIS, geographical information system. So these global positioning systems can be used to find the exact location of any node. Actually, the main aim of this vehicular ad hoc network to find the exact location of any vehicle, to find the direction or locations of their neighboring node, so that we can aware of their driving and other situations in the network. So these are some very specific and very unique characteristics of the vehicular ad hoc network. Then we'll talk about the VANET applications. So generally in vehicular ad hoc network, we use some very specific applications like safety applications and comfort applications. Safety applications, sometimes in VANET it increases the safety of passengers and drivers because it has some unique characteristics. And in VANET, each vehicle is equipped with digital map and electronic sensors or sensor nodes. So these nodes can be used to find the to gather the data of the surroundings. Surroundings may be the vehicles or maybe the road environment. Okay. And at intersections, the system can decide which vehicle has the right to pass first and alert all the drivers, so that we can, we can just avoid the,
Sir,
jam, as well as
which slide number should I open?
slide number. I think you can just and open VANET characteristics.
Just 1 minute, sir. Yes, I have opened, sir.
Then VANET applications.
There's safety applications, comfort applications.
Yeah, so just go back and just see the VANET. There is a diagram. Just go back
Yes, sir.
two or three slides back. There is a VANET.
roadside communication cable, DSRC
Yeah,
video.
yeah. So just go back 2 or 3 more slides back, please. Come,
This is a one diagram roadside base station.
yeah, come to the VANET communications. 1 or 2
Yes,
slides
sir.
back. Go.
I opened it.
Okay, then there is a, just go the next slide, VANET.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so here we can see how the vehicle to vehicle and vehicle to communication, vehicle to infrastructure communications are possible, as well as vehicle to pedestrian communications are possible. Okay, and how the roadside equipments or roadside unit can be used as a part of the vehicle ad hoc network. So it is very clear cut. Figure for vehicle ad hoc network. So how the vehicle ad hoc network basically configure. So in this way we can see with this figure. Then next figure you can see also one vehicle ad hoc network where we can use the internet or any hotspot as a to provide the internet facility to the vehicle. There may be vehicle infrastructure to vehicle communication or vehicle to infrastructure communication, as well as as well as the vehicle to vehicle communications are possible in the next diagram. Then there is another diagram of VANET where we can see the vehicle to vehicle to roadside communications, and there is one emergency event happen, means some vehicles collided on the road. So when the vehicles collided on the road, so because basically these vehicles are the part of the vehicle ad hoc network. So immediately some alert messages just passes surrounding the vehicles, so that in that case vehicles can take their actions accordingly. Means if there is a jam, if there is any accident, so in that way they can avoid to go there in that region basically. Then how VANET, how it works, we have already explained. Then there is another figure for VANET, and these are the characteristics, VANET characteristics. And then we're talking about the VANET applications. So here we have, two types of applications: safety applications and the comfort applications. In comfort applications, these applications basically improve the traffic efficiency and optimize routes to destinations. And what are the comfort applications basically here? These are the traffic information systems, weather information systems, restaurant location, gas station location, and price informations are some important comfort applications. So when you are driving or inside the car, you can just use ballot applications, and you can pay, or you can decide, or you can do anything inside the vehicle when you are on movement. So this is the beauty of this network basically. And you can access internet or download music in the vehicles by using some services like these services, means these services provided by the roadside unit, because roadside unit is used to provide the internet connectivity to the passengers or to the drivers, and the roadside unit is also used to extend the network and also use some different applications, some unique applications to get informations from from different roadside unit, or from different hot spots, or sometimes roadside unit can get the information from the cloud, and those informations can be shared inside the vehicle. So these are applications of the mobile ad hoc network. Then the next slide is the VANET protocol and the standards. Slides is showing there.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So here in this slide you can see the sometimes what type of standards and what protocols basically used by the vehicle ad hoc network. So it uses MAC protocols as the wireless network or mobile ad hoc network uses. MAC protocol used to reduce the medium access delay when the vehicle fails to send the message. So basically, the vehicle sends the medium. Okay. So in that case, if the medium is busy or if the traffic is busy, so that time the MAC protocol can be used here. And IEEE 802.11 wireless networking standard also used here to provide different type of wireless technology services like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the WiMAX, Zigbee.
Sir, there is a one question.
Yeah.
Which techniques is implemented in a safety application?
Hello.
So there is a one question from the participant that which
Yeah.
techniques are implemented in the safety application?
Actually, there is a onboard unit already inside the vehicle or on the vehicle. That onboard unit is basically there is a digital map. That digital map is and a sensor node is there. So sensor node is basically gather the information from their surroundings. Then those information can be displayed by using the digital map. Okay, so information gathered by the sensing nodes and displayed on the digital map can be used to send alert messages or safety messages to their neighbors, basically to their surrounding neighbors. And sometimes this GPS receiver can be used to get the information sent by the satellite, and then those informations can be shared by the surrounding neighbors, and those information is basically known as the control messages, basically, which is also known as the beacon. So these beacons can be sent to other vehicles, can be shared to other vehicles, and then other vehicles can in that case they can save yourself, okay, and avoid the some other like traffic jam, and if there is any accident, so in that case they can use such type of information to just for gathering information, and then for the safety information, you can see. Some other questions, please.
No one, sir. Please continue.
Okay. So IEEE 802.11 wireless networking standard is used here, providing different type of Wi-Fi services or wireless services to the network. And as like wireless network, distributed coordination function is responsible for medium access, as the MAC protocol is used here. And this, when it is uses P1609.1 to P1609.4, some standard protocols. These were basically developed by the People ad hoc network especially, and these are very responsible for some different type of services. And besides these services, when it uses several IEEE 802.11 versions like 802.11a, b, g, and these are some physical layer standards that can also be used for different type of services, and can be used to speed up the communication between the vehicles or between the vehicle and infrastructure. So these are the some services. And
Sir,
another one is
there is one other question. If it is
yeah.
essential that the vehicle have sensor board, if it is not, that how it works?
Eh?
It is essential that the vehicle have a sensor board. If it is not,
Yeah.
then how it works?
Vehicle has a sensing node. Yeah, definitely. Vehicle has a sensing node. Then
It is
next.
the participant is asking. It is sir. It is essential that the vehicle have a sensor board. If there is a no sensor board in the vehicle, then how it will work? It will not work in the vehicle ad hoc networks. That is a simple.
No. Actually, sensor node or sensing device or sensing node is the very essential part of this vehicle ad hoc network. Why?
Yes,
because this sensing node or sensing device just sends the data sense the data of their surroundings. Data may be the regarding the structure of the road. Data may be regarding the surrounding vehicles. So once the vehicle gather the information from their surrounding vehicles, then only they can share these information to the other vehicles. Okay, so accordingly they can act in the network. So it means a sensing device is very important part of this vehicular ad hoc network. Otherwise, no information can be displayed on the digital map, and no information can be shared. Okay, sometimes we can get the information sent by the satellite, but this is only this data is only responsible to find the location, not sharing the information. When we share some information, some comfort information, some safety information, so we need this sensing device or sensor node inside the vehicle. Okay. Okay, so next is the IEEE P1 609.1 is the standard for wireless access in vehicular environment. Basically, when we talk about the IEEE 802.11p, which is especially meant for the WANET. So when this protocol is used under one environment. That environment is known as wireless access in vehicular environment. When this protocol runs, then automatically this environment created, and once this environment has been created, the vehicles will be able to communicate to other vehicles automatically. So Wave is very useful things in vehicular ad hoc network, and it is the modified version of 802.11a for MAC for MAC protocol. And this Wave is basically the standard form of this IEEE 802.11p. P for especially it is meant for the vehicular ad hoc network. Then the next is being the WANET worldwide projects. So here a lot of projects are going on in the world. In America, they are using the vehicle infrastructure integration program, and they are running this program. This is very useful project in America. Then there is a vehicle information and application system, as well as intelligent transportation systems. These are the different projects running in Japan. And the FleetNet and the network on wheels now is a project in Germany, working in this now project. Intelligent transport system, sometimes we are using in India in some labs, in some big institutions, in IITs. We are using some projects in the name of intelligent transport system, not transportation system, intelligent transport system. Sometimes DST provides some fund on these intelligent transport systems. So in India, we are using such type of projects. And then cooperative vehicle infrastructure systems, cooperative system for intelligent road safety, and a global system for telematics, and some others, ComCar, Drive, ComSafety, Prevent, and Car Talk. These are some useful projects which are running in European countries basically. Basically, France is working a lot in vehicular ad hoc network, and they have already established some such type of infrastructure, and people are using such type of network, this vehicular ad hoc network or intelligent transportation systems in their countries already, and they are getting the advantage or benefits of this vehicular ad hoc network basically in their countries. The next project is Vehicle Safety Consortium. This is running in USA. Car-to-Car Communication Consortium in Europe, and Advanced Safety Vehicle Program is running in Japan also. So these are some different type of projects going on in different countries, and many researchers and academicians are working on these projects very frequently and doing a lot of things in the field of this ad hoc network, basically. Then here, next slide, it's showing some tools, basically simulation tools for ad hoc network. So, the NS2 is the father of all the simulation tools, basically, that can be used in mobile ad hoc network, wireless sensor network, vehicular ad hoc network, as well as in flying ad hoc network too. So it's a very effective and open source tool. So it's very difficult to learn this NS2, but if we are working on these tools continuously 3 or 4 months, so we can get clear-cut idea how to run this NS2 and how to add our, basically in NS2 we use C++ coding, and if you know the C++ coding very frequently, so we can run that coding in NS2 very frequently and very easily. So then NS3 for VANET. NS3 is especially meant for the vehicular ad hoc network or vehicular cloud network, basically. So this lot of people are using NS3 also nowadays in vehicular ad hoc network. But to learn the NS3, we must know the whole functioning of the NS2 also. If you know the background, if you know the motivation, if you know the whole uh, working principle of the NS2, then only we can easily understand the working of NS3. Then we can use Omnet, optical modeling network simulator. This is also used for mobile ad hoc network, ad hoc network, flying ad hoc network, and then another one is GIST. This is GIST platform is basically Java based simulation tool that can also be used, but it's not complete. Sometimes if you know S2, then only we can run this Java based simulation tool for some other specific purpose in ad hoc network. Then there is a Sumo simulation environment. Sumo is basically, simulation tool for urban mobility model. So this basically one type of mobility model type of tool. This can work with some tool like NS2, NS3, Omnet. So together, basically, single it cannot work. It can work with some other tools. Okay, this is used for mobility models. When you want to get the clear-cut, traces of the nodes or movement of the nodes, then only we can use this Sumo tool with the NS2. Then inter-vehicle communication toolkit is there, also used for the vehicle ad hoc network. Then RTI can be used here. This is this tool is used for the other different type of communication system, vehicle to vehicle communication systems, vehicle to infrastructure communication system, vehicle to pedestrian communication systems. So these are some very specific tools. Another one is QualNet simulator. QualNet is licensed version, even though Omnet is also licensed version. So this generally, if you have, if some agency is funding, then you can get such type of simulator in your lab also. Then GrooveNet is another very effective tool for used for the vanity especially. But not people working on GrooveNet. It is very difficult to learn this GrooveNet simulator. So these are the different simulators that can be used in the lab or that can be used on your laptop. So these are the tools. These are the next slide showing the IoT-based intelligent transport system. So in India, generally we expected that when we talk about the intelligent transport system, so such type of figure shows that what should be the the exact idea in mind of this intelligent transportation systems. So there may be the here in the case of intelligent transportation system, we use the concept of vehicle ad hoc network. We use the some concept of flying ad hoc network also. Here, unmanned aerial vehicle means UAV can be used here. Railway, trains can be used. Can be the part of this network. Flight can be the part of this network. Aeroplanes can be the part of this network, or drone cameras can be the part of this network. As well as the this is vehicles, roadside units, railways, and flights or drones. These all together just combine together and make such type of intelligent transport system. So just we are in India, we are working like this in this way. Okay. The next slide just showing the research in vehicular ad hoc. So basically, those friends who are working in mobile ad hoc network or in vehicular ad hoc network, or even mobile flying network, so they can work in these areas here on mobility modeling, scalability modeling, efficient standardization, routing issues, broadcasting, security and privacy, quality of service, and some social issues. Social issues means in healthcare system, we can also use people ad hoc network, and we can do a lot of research on healthcare by using such type of network basically. So mobility modeling also a great challenge in vehicular ad hoc network, since the network topology is changing very frequently, and it is scalability modeling also, how to make this network scalable, means how to make this network more robust, so we can do a lot of things on scalability. Efficient channel utilization, how we can use the channel efficiently, because a number of vehicles runs on the road, and they are using different standards and protocols, and by using those protocols and standards, we can also use different type of channels, different type of spectrum we can use, bands we can use. So in that case, how we can use the channel efficiently. So a lot of things we can do here on channel utilization. Routing is the very challenging task in this network, basically in any type of random network, like mobile ad hoc network, vehicle ad hoc network, flying ad hoc network. Routing is the main challenge. Basically, when we talk about safety applications and comfort applications, so in that case, routing is very challenging task. The routing is the process of finding optimal path between source and a destination, then sending the message in a timely manner. So it is a challenge to get the to find the optimal path between source and a destination, or between different vehicles. Then only we can get the exact information in a timely manner. If we get the information in a timely, then we can send this information to their vehicles, and then accordingly the next vehicle can act. Okay. So routing is a very important task here, and a lot of people working on routing. Even though I'm also working on routing along with some other issues. So broadcasting, this is one type of routing. Different type of broadcasting are there. Geocast, multicast, broadcast, anycast. Different type of broadcastings are there. So a lot of people are working there on broadcast also. Security and privacy are the main concerns here also. To secure our data, and to secure the different messages gathered from the different nodes. Okay. So and privacy is the main concern also here. How we can manage the privacy of the data, how you can manage the security of the data. So these are different issues. Security and privacy are different issues that can be the main part of this research, basically. Then quality of service means how we can send the data, how we can maintain the data, how we can maintain the quality of data. So a lot of quality related services are there, where we can work a lot of things. And social issues, another challenge in case of the ad hoc network, when we can talk about some then we can talk. We can use some other network like a body sensor network can be used here, to monitor the health. Okay, so these are some challenging issues, some research issues where we can do a lot of research. Then
Sir, can we take a 5 to 10 minutes question and answer round, because it is already, sir, 1:20 and next session is at 2 o'clock. So
okay,
it will be better if we take sir, question and answer from the participants. I just request to participants to unmute their mic one by one and can ask their questions.
okay, no problem, Bisalji. They can ask, even though I have to discuss more things here, but no problem, because
Sir, due to the network problem and all other things, they will connect to you on the offline. I have shared your Google Scholar profile with them. If they have any issue regarding the wireless communication, they will contact you.
Please, no problem. So they can ask
Actually,
if they have
yes.
some.
Anjali madam, can you please unmute your mic and ask the question? Anjali Gaikwad madam, please.
Hello,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
audible there. Yeah, madam, please,
Sir.
please.
Yes, sir. Good
Ji.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Sir,
madam. Please.
in a YNET, you say that the research for the health
Okay.
it is implemented YNET.
Okay. Please ask your question.
Sir, there is a question.
Another question is, what is the
Sir, I am explaining the question. What types of security of data maintained in VANET?
Hello.
Sir, what types of security of data maintained by the VANET?
Here, in security concern, you can use different type of encryption or decryption security to manage the data, and some attacks are there. So some just like DOS attack and wormhole attack. These are the some techniques. They can be used with routing to resolve the security issues. In the virtual ad hoc network. He has asked some other questions.
1 minute, sir. She has already posted one question. VANET used in healthcare, can it used in now this COVID-19 situation? If yes, then how it is works?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. VANET can be used in any type of pandemic. In VANET, we can use a smart vehicle as an ambulance, and those vehicles may uses the services of cloud computing, as well as the services of the Internet of Things. IoT services can be used by the vehicle ad hoc network, can be used by the vehicles inside the vehicle, and IoT enabled smart vehicles or ambulance collect data. Means I mean to say that these smart vehicles can be deployed in any cities, in any corner of the cities, and those smart ambulance can collect the information about the patients or about the persons by using some sensing node. Sensing node means smart jacket will be there. Those smart jackets can be wear by the patient. Then smart jackets can get the information. Hello.
Please continue, sir. Please continue. You are audible. Okay, nice.
Okay. So those smart vehicle, means ambulance have the smart facility. Means they have smart jacket and smart gateways, smartphones. They have already. Those services can be used with the people, with the patient. So once the patient registered with this network and having the mobile gateway. So by using that mobile gateway, they can share the information to the medical professionals. In that case, the medical professional provide the ambulance facility, smart vehicle facility to the patient. Then ambulance can get the information, means physical information of the patient. Physical information mean the means pulse rate, temperature, and ECG, whatever the information can be collected by the smart jacket. Okay, or you can say sensing node. Sensing node may be the ambient node, or the body sensor node. These sensor node can get the information from the patients, and these information can be transferred to the ambulance. Then ambulance can transfer this information by using the routing concept to the medical professionals at the hospital. At the hospital, medical professionals can analyze this data, means these PHI data, means personal health information data collected by the sensing node from the different users, or you can say patients. Then they can at the hospital, there will be the medical professionals. They will analyze the data and provide the medical facility by using the routing concept, by using the vehicular ad hoc network, and smart ambulance to the passengers. Okay, and provide the first aid facility or any emergency facility to the passengers. So any type of pandemic can be detected, can be prevented by using such type of network, basically. Okay, I mean to say that medical professionals can constantly monitor the patient's health conditions and save their lives in emergency situations by using this vehicular ad hoc network. Okay, any more questions?
If you have any question, you can write in the chat window or unmute your mic. Then after we will start for the next session.
Yes, please. Any question more? Any more question?
I think they will connect you.
Okay, no problem. VANET can be used. VANET can be used in health monitoring system with the help of a wireless body sensor network. They can work very efficiently and monitor the data of the patients by using sensor nodes and mobile gateways.
Any other one? Okay, thank you very much, sir. There is a one query.
So, Vishal Saab, initially it was some destruction due to
Yes,
the
sir.
networks.
There is no problem. There is no problem. It can be said it is a network now, which can be detract.
Okay.
So there is no issue.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of all the, there is a one question. Anjali madam, you can connect to sir on the offline. I will connect you with him on the WhatsApp, and you can take. And he has a. I must say that he has published more than 30 SCIE good papers, and all are in the free research journals. So it will be very beneficial for you if you connect with him on the offline mode. He will help you in how to write a paper for the SCIE. He has a good papers, and he has a more than 3-4 papers who have 100+ citations. You can check his Google Scholar profile. I have shared the link, and he has a vast knowledge of wireless. I have shared you the PPT, and I will also share you the PPT at the end of all the speakers. You can take a reference from that PPT. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Vishal. I thanks to Professor Hoda sir and his team, especially Dr. Vishal Jain, who has invited me for this online lecture. And Dr. Vishal, lot of assignments I do with Hoda sir, and I feel proud and happy always. So once again, thanks a lot to Professor Hoda sir and Dr. Vishal. Please, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good luck and a good day. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Good day, sir. Good day. Thank you very much to all the participants for the cooperation. As there was some network issue, so I will try to connect you with the sir on the WhatsApp and another medium, so that you can take a solution of your queries with him, and he is a wonderful solvable source for the wireless communication. And we will start the next session by 2 o'clock. Dr. Mayank Agarwal, Head Computer Science and Engineering Department, Gurukul Kangadi University, Haridwar. He will be us. So I request you all to please join the session by 2 o'clock. And then after 4:30, we will have a validity session with the Professor K.K. Karwal sir. He is a chairman, NBA, and founder, vice chancellor of IP University. Then after, we will distribute the certificates online. Thank you.